Hey everybody, what's up? I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from the Black Business School, and just woke up and I'm about to drink some coffee, but I wanted to talk for a second about this thing that I read today that I think is a great teaching point. It's the kind of thing I would bring up in my class in the Black Wealth Boot Camp in the Black Business School. It has to do with the actress Monique. Monique says that Monique's been pretty successful as an actress. I think she actually won an Academy Award, if I'm not mistaken. And Monique feels that she was ripped off by her friend, quote unquote, Lee Daniels, when she did the movie Precious. In case you don't recall, the movie Precious was probably the most depressing movie ever made in the history of the world. It was basically about a poor little black girl who was morbidly obese, and the whole world spent the entire film just shitting on her. That's what the film was about. It was literally the most depressing thing ever. And I think it honestly was a reflection of Lee Daniels' mental illness. Lee Daniels is, if you really just look at his history, you really see a man who's been through some things, and he hasn't received the proper therapy, and he's been embraced by these Jews and white people who position him to influence the black community in whatever negative way that he feels is appropriate. So what you're seeing on screen when you see his movies and some very sick scenarios is really a reflection of the fact that Lee Daniels is a man who has what I believe is undiagnosed mental illness, or maybe it's been diagnosed but untreated. I don't know. But anyway, you know me, I tell it like it is. And also Lee Daniels, you got Damon Dash. I work with Damon Dash. Damon Dash said, was suing Lee Daniels not too long ago for claiming that he ripped him off too, for the movie that he made with him called The Woodsman. Damon claims that this movie helped Lee Daniels' career kind of take off, and somehow things didn't work out financially. I don't know. So a lot of people have accused Lee Daniels of not doing right by them. Let's just say that. But here's the interesting thing. So, when I spend time in Hollywood, I'm learning more about Hollywood and how it operates. I'm a part owner of The Real Network, where we shoot stuff in Hollywood. We also shoot stuff in New York and LA. Our film Resurrecting Black Wall Street, The Blueprint, is coming out this month, and that was actually shot in New York. So we're actually trying to play our tiny role in the creation of a black Hollywood. So as a result, I've been studying and learning just how the business of Hollywood works. And as a business school professor, I look at things from the business and financial side to try to understand the dynamics. Now, I'm not an expert on any of this. I'm doing my best. I'm learning. And one of the things that I can say is that in Hollywood, there's an overabundance of talent and an underabundance of opportunity. Whenever we have a casting call, the line is down the block and up the street and around the corner. And, there's all kinds of writers and directors and actors and actresses and very talented people who are all kind of clamoring for one or two tiny opportunities. And so as a result, I imagine that this sort of imbalance of power, Daniels has this money he's been given by a bunch of whites and Jews, and he goes into the black community and says, I got all this money, and so y'all Negroes need to line up and get this opportunity from me. So, basically anybody will do anything to get that chance to have that role. That's kind of how black people, because of the asymmetric access to capital that exists in America, where white people control the resources, that's how black people end up in a position in which we feel powerless. That's how we end up in a position as beggars and borrowers as opposed to builders in many cases. So I can see why Monique might have been pressured into signing a contract that wasn't necessarily in her best financial interest. From what I understand, she only got $50,000 from the movie, which is an insanely low amount of money, considering that Precious made about $47.5 million. Now, on one hand, you could say, well, maybe that was the best deal she could have gotten. And so if that's the case, then that's the case. But then on the other hand, you can also wonder, if she were more in tune with the business side of what she was doing, and more in tune with how the business of Hollywood works, and not just how things operate on the stage, but how do things operate behind the stage? How do things operate in the back room, behind the back room of the stage? Maybe she could have negotiated a better deal. I don't know. I'm not saying I haven't seen the details of her contract, but I do kind of wonder, if you are exploited because you overlooked something or because you didn't know to look for something, what role do you play in your own exploitation? I'm not saying that this is the case with Monique at all. If Lee Daniels really is her friend, then, friends don't sign friends to deals where, one person takes all the money, the other person doesn't get anything. He could send her a check or something. But then again, maybe they aren't really friends like that. I don't know. But at the end of the day, the question becomes, when you go into anything, and this is really the lesson here. This is the lesson. This is the kind of thing I would say to to my students in the Black Wealth Bootcamp. And by the way, the Black Wealth Bootcamp starts in a couple weeks if you want to join. I would tell my students, make sure you know the business of the business that you're in. Make sure you know the business behind the business that you're doing. I mean, don't do business when you don't understand the business. That's how a lot of athletes get ripped off by these white and Jewish agents who went to Harvard, who have law degrees, because they're thinking about, some of these young guys are thinking about the jewelry and the women and the fame and all that. And they're in the back room thinking, ooh, he's distracted. I'm going to rob this sucker blind. I'm going to add fees on top of fees. I'm going to have him sign little escape clauses in the contracts. It's almost like how a computer programmer will program a back door so they can come in afterward and take all your stuff. Well, a lot of times, legally and contractually, people can do that as well. And so it doesn't mean anybody's above being exploited or being ripped off. I mean, it's happened to all of us at some point. But at the end of the day, as you raise your children, you want to raise your children to be in tune with business models and understand how business operates, and not just be so fascinated by the bright lights that they don't see the fine print. Make sure you know that. All right. Well, anyway, I'm about to get on out of here. By the way, if you want to join the next Black Wealth Bootcamp, you can go to theblackwealthbootcamp.com. That's theblackwealthbootcamp.com. Classes start in early March, and you're going to love it. Also, we are in the middle of the Black Economic Empowerment Tour. We have just signed deals to go to several cities, including Chicago, Louisville, St. Louis, Baltimore, and I think in Vegas. Some people in Vegas reached out. Right now for Chicago, that's the one that's set up. So if you want to come to Chicago, which is going to be off the chain, I hope you'll come out. It really is going to be amazing. If it's not an amazing night for you, then just email me and tell me how pissed off you are, because I guarantee you, we aims to please. And so if you want to find out about Chicago, go to drboycechicago.com. That's drboycechicago.com. We're going to do the world premiere of our film, Resurrecting Black Wall Street, the blueprint. We're also going to do a conversation on building a Black Wall Street in the 21st century, wealth building principles, cooperative economic principles, etc. It's going to be a blockbuster evening, 4 hours of just all kinds of amazing craziness. And at the end as well, I'll do a book signing. You'll get a chance to come up, say hi, give me a hug, because I'm gonna hug you whether you want to hug me or not. I'm a hugger. So take care, guys, and don't forget drboycechicago.com. I hope you'll come out. And until we meet again, please stay strong, be blessed, and be educated. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.